Oh, sorry.
Welcome to the Panavox channel. I'm Joe.
I'm
And
Mike.
I'm,
Right. Let's start
and
again.
I'm Eric.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about a recent Bob Dylan concert that Mike attended. And as you see, well, what do you got behind you there, Mike? Is that that's related to Bob Dylan, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's a still from the classic Subterranean Homesick Blues video where he's throwing the signs around. I thought that one was kind of spoke to me, so I chose it.
A video, you say? Well, didn't MTV started in 1981? But wasn't he like around 40 years old in 1980? He didn't look like he's 40 years old in this picture.
That was 65 when that was taken.
So they had music videos back in 1965?
Yeah, I just found that they had music back in 1965, you know. I thought music started with like Black Sabbath, you know. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, but this is I was just kidding around, but I think we do forget that they did make kind of proto music videos, I guess, back in the 60s. This is one of them, and
yeah, this
yeah.
was probably like one of the first ones I can think of. You know, of course, I haven't really thought about it very hard, but you know, right after he did this, the Beatles came out with, you know, videos for their songs as a way of promoting whatever their latest single was, but not having to have them show up at some TV studio to perform or something. And
Right.
so, yeah, they've been around. Then the Stones did it, of course, and lots of other bands did it too.
Yeah, I remember what was it, the I Am the Walrus music video? I must have come out, yeah, in the
Well, that was
60s.
actually from the Magical Mystery Tour movie, but they did have
Oh,
Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane come out as videos.
wow.
Yeah.
So in a way, MTV didn't really invent the whole concept. It had already kind of existed.
Yes. Even Michael Nesmith of the Monkees was really kind of almost credited with starting like the whole real video music revolution thing, because he used to have a show on Nickelodeon called Pop Clips. And of course, that goes way back when there weren't really a whole lot of videos. So you saw a lot of the really experimental stuff, and that was actually pretty cool. But then, yeah, MTV, you know, the MTV Super Train came in, and that was that, of course.
Yeah, and the irony of that is MTV it was only for a few years that MTV showed music videos, and then they started having all this other content in there that was
Oh, right,
and
right.
then it was just all like reality shows and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
is MTV even? Are they still around even?
Somebody pull the plug on them
Yeah,
recently?
yeah,
I don't know. I don't even know.
Do you
it
know?
was yeah, it was discontinued. They shut the channel down some time ago. It stopped. It kind of stopped showing music videos like we remembered in the 80s, and then they were doing, I think, reality TV or some other type of format, and then finally they just shut
Real
the whole thing.
world
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Shut it down, but it anyway. I mean, I guess it played itself out. It didn't have to be that way, because like if you think about it, Saturday Night Live has been going strong since 1970 something. Didn't they celebrate their 50th anniversary recently? So I mean, you could keep
Uh,
a TV concept going, but
Oh
maybe
God, but who wants to use Saturday Night Live as a benchmark for keeping something alive, though?
well, I mean, that's just an example. Maybe it's not your cup of tea, so to speak, but uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it has had some varied level of quality over the years. But speaking of varied level of quality over the years, some people would argue that Bob Dylan has gone up and down in levels of quality over the decades. What do you have to say about
And
that?
when I was an objective Dylan listener, I probably would have agreed with them wholeheartedly. but I'm no longer am an objective Dylan listener. I just like Dylan. I would even say love Dylan. So, at one point, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I actually went back to actually listen to the records. So I turned my notes up too. They came out, in the 80s and 90s. And, there's some good stuff on there. And I stopped being objective too, so that helped.
That's an honest admission there.
But let me say this. In the 90s, he totally blew everybody out of the water when he came out with that Time Out of Mind album. I mean, that was a great Dylan album, and that was he hasn't made a great Dylan album in a long time. There were a few in the 80s that maybe got a little overlooked that I think are actually also really good albums by Dylan. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was some, ups and downs.
Yeah.
So you went to a Bob Dylan concert recently. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that experience? Did you enjoy it? Was it fun?
Oh man, I thought it was fun, and I thought the show was great on many levels. Of course, again, you're listening to someone who's not an objective Dylan listener anymore, but I just saw him a couple of years ago, I guess back in 2023, and I thought this was actually light years ahead of that show.
Oh wow.
Because Dylan actually tours like a band that's just starting out hitting the bars. I mean, he is on the road every year. His tour that I saw him on just ended, maybe a week or so ago. But he's already got dates scheduled in Europe for the summer. I mean, the guy is just on the road constantly.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
that's impressive. At age 85, you said?
Yeah, he's going to be 85 this month,
Wow.
I have a hard time just getting up in the morning to make a bagel. But, this guy doing shows, 10, 11 o'clock at night, every night, God knows where. But, when I saw him a couple of years ago, it was when everybody was coming out of the COVID thing. And so he actually was, those couple of years there, he was not on the road, but other than another blip in the late 90s, he has been constantly on the road every year, every season. He's somewhere in the world. So, yeah. But having said all that, I saw him at Dothan Civic Arena, which is kind of funny. But it was, nothing against Dothan, but it's not really rock and roll, rock city or anything. But they do have a great jet pilot there where I did relieve myself, so that's something. But the Civic Arena is pretty small. I don't think it holds more than 3,000 people, maybe. And we had third row seats, so that was extra nice. We could see very well and hear very well. And when we sat down, we noticed that we were directly in front of a big speaker bank that was hanging on the wall, and thought that this might be, a bombast, about to occur. But actually, it sounded great. The sound in the arena was great. And Dylan, I thought, sounded more lucid and there than he did the last time I saw him. Wow. As typical with Dylan, there's a lot of songs he'll start doing, and you think you're hearing Just Like a Woman, but it's You Gotta Serve Somebody or something, Yeah. He does different arrangements every time I see him of his songs, or some of his songs. Mm-hmm. And this was no exception. But it was really great. It started out with To Be Alone With You, and then Man in the Long Black Coat, All Along the Watchtower, which was almost done like a samba. It was weird. I mean, it's really like that was that's a perfect example right there. And then he did a lot of stuff from his last album, which escapes me, but the songs were Also, song titles escape me, but they're online somewhere. If you're that interested, you can go Google them. But they did a lot of stuff off the new album and some old ones. And I thought he sounded great. He played electric piano. Nobody played an electric guitar at all until the last two songs when the
Oh,
bass player switched from a stand-up bass to an electric bass. Um, and it sounded great. The band sounded great. They were really good musicians, and they seemed to be into what they were doing. And it was just, uh, it was a relief on many levels too, because it was just going to see, you paid to go see five dudes play music, or four dudes, however, five dudes play music. They were in front of a gold curtain. They had some very discreet lighting on the stage. No fancy light show, no multimedia experience, no immersive Dylan. It was just like five guys playing music very well, and it
yeah.
all sounded very well, and no, high water and histrionics with it. It's just
Mhm.
musicians, song, performance, you. Um, so that was great. And Dylan has had a no camera or no recording policy last few tours, and this is no exception. So if you took your cell phone into the arena, you had to lock it up in this little pouch, and you had to get it unlocked at the end of the show.
Oh,
So nobody was there just going, click, 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 click the whole time,
oh, yeah.
which drives me crazy, man. I can't stand going to a show and just looking at a sea of phones. So that was cool. And also, this is one of the best parts. The audience was so respectful, man. It was like when you had quiet portions of the songs, it's like you could hear a pin drop, you know? So it's like big ups for Dothan for being the only audience I've ever seen that knows how to, enjoy a friggin' show, right? Because
Yeah.
usually it's people with their phones and people are talking about their Facebook pages to each other behind you. And just, there's so much that you have to get past when you go and attend a show with 3,000 people. But man, this is like perfect. It was perfect. I'll never see it happen again. But it just all fit together very well, and it was very cool experience. Um, yeah. So everybody had a good time. Dylan sounded great, and like I said, I thought it was definitely a margin up from him the last time I saw him. So there you go.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you had a really rewarding experience. To see a man who many consider to be a national treasure, um, and he may not be with us much longer as a performer. I mean, 85,
Yeah,
getting
that's why I always say if he's willing to get up there, that I'm willing to go out there to see him. I mean,
yeah.
but I mean, I saw the Stones maybe 10 years ago, and it was in one of those big, massive football arenas and stuff, and like we had to park like 5 miles away, and the whole time I'm walking there, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't make it anymore. My back's hurting. And I'm just complaining and whining and everything, and just feeling my age, right? Finally, get to our seats, and the show comes on, and Keith Richards comes just jogging out on stage, like he's in his late 70s, and he's jogging onto the stage. And I'm like sitting there just complaining about having to walk, and I'm 30 years younger than him. So
Yeah.
that was a real low. But I don't know how they do it, man. But he still does, and he still sounds real good.
Yeah, I was really amazed at a recent album that he released. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I had my expectations set pretty low because I'm kind of like thinking, well, you've been doing this all these years. You're well up into your 80s or late 70s or however old he was. And I'm thinking like, how much juice can you squeeze out of this lemon? If you think of creative inspiration as kind of like a limited resource. And evidently there was more juice to get out of it because I listened to it and I was like, wow, not only is that good, not only is it competent, but it has sparks of inspiration in it, you know? And so
Mhm.
I think that I find him very inspirational for that reason, because there's always this thought that goes in my mind that, you know, maybe something great is still around the corner for me, even though I'm well into my 50s now, approaching 60.
Mhm.
And then thinking, well, you know, if he can be creatively inspired at that age, then maybe I still have some time. I mean, I don't know. Nothing's guaranteed, but
Yeah,
still.
I kind of see it as a threat more than anything, because like he's up there doing that, and then like, oh, can you take out the garbage? I'm tired, man. I don't feel like it. Well, Bob Dylan's playing show somewhere right now. You can't take out the excuse me, the effing garbage. Yeah, so nobody says that to me, but if they did, that conversation would have sounded like that.
It's kind of what it feels like, even though maybe that particular language isn't used.
No, don't use that language, kids. Don't try this at home.
Okay. Yeah. Eric, so you've been a Dylan fan over the years?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I kind of hate to say that, but for some, I've kind of tried to be a Dylan fan, but I mean, I don't dislike Dylan. It's just I've never caught the Dylan bug really, but like really the only thing I know about his music is I used to hear the song on the radio in the 1970s called uh, "Tangled Up in Blue," and
Hey, let me
and,
blue.
and I would thought he was saying "Tiger Loving Blue" for some. It's like, Tiger Loving Blue.
You never
It's
can tell,
like,
man. That's the thing.
That's the kind of thing like you brought it up with Dylan himself when you said, you know, I thought you were saying Tiger Lovin' Blue, and he'd be like, you did. And then the next show he would sing Tiger Lovin' Blue. He really
Not
like
improbable.
yeah, he might do that. He says, you know, like, wow, you really sang it. Yeah, you told me it sounded like I did it.
Can
yeah,
I
that's
just
right.
say, can I just offer one caveat though to this whole story? Is that I've already declared myself a non-objective Dylan fan. I just like the guy, I like what he does.
Mhm.
I don't feel like his concerts are necessarily the kind of concerts that you just recommend somebody go to have something to do or something, or like, hey, we're going to this Dylan show, it'd be real good, want to come with us? Or it's really, it's like it's just for the fans now, kind of, which is not being snobby or anything. I'm just saying that, like, from what I've seen, if you're not already a Dylan fan, you may just kind of walk away scratching your head. Um, so I don't necessarily think that everybody has to go see Dylan if you don't appreciate him, especially, or just maybe even a casual listener. Maybe just stay at home and check out your record collection or something. But if you're into people who are out there doing it for real, then go check them out.
Yeah, I mean, I want to speak a little bit about my Dylan experience. I'm a big fan of his earlier works, the stuff he did in the 60s in particular, a little bit from the 70s. And I don't know much about the 80s and the 90s stuff, but then I pick up back again with him around 2006. What was it? What was the album that he came out in 2006?
Uh,
That's a good one.
um,
Yeah.
had like a black and white cover. Is that the
Yeah,
one?
that's right. Yeah, it's
Yeah. God, I'm so bad with album titles now.
I was gonna
Uh,
say
Something through
modern
life.
modern something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Modern Times.
Modern Times. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
called.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I love that album. Yeah.
That's a really great album. When I heard Modern Times, I was like, whoa. And this came out in 2006. And I was like, whoa, this is really good. And so I listened to everything that came after Modern Times. And I was like, I think he's on a streak.
Mhm.
And that just really blew me away that a man of his age could generate that type of material. Is really, really good stuff. But particularly the early period of his life. And I remember that when he started off, it was all acoustic guitar, Woody Guthrie style kind of stuff. And there was some point where he decided to go electric. And I remember
Mhm.
that he was in England at the time, and I was watching some kind of documentary where he was talking to his bandmates or producers, where he says, I'm ready to start using electric guitars and working with different people, and then
Mhm.
so they brought in, what
The
was it?
band.
Yeah, the band,
Um.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Minus
and
Levon Helm. But yeah, that's who it was.
yeah, and brought those guys in, and then he was playing these shows in England, and these British people were showing up, and they were going like, they were interviewing them after the show, and they were like saying, "I didn't come here
It's in
to
the
watch."
gutter. He's taking his music to the gutter. It's bloody rubbish.
Yeah, yeah, they were just totally. And then they were saying, says he should have stuck with what he was doing before with his acoustic guitars, acoustic guitar and the folk songs. That's what we liked. And I mean, it was great stuff. But for whatever reason, Dylan was like, I mean, you think about the nerve it took to be at that peak, to where
Mhm.
he was selling tons of records. People loved his folk stuff, and
Mhm.
suddenly he says, "I want to play electric guitar," you know.
Mhm.
And
But
and
yeah, those
when I
all
listen,
those shows are great, man.
yeah. And it's like it's funny because yeah, I heard some of these live tracks when he was doing the electric stuff, and after he would finish a number, people would go boo, and I was like, and I'm listening to that, and I was like, to me, that's some of the best stuff he ever did. But it's funny that people were booing it, but he just plowed on. So it's like I know this is outside of music, but I thought I really respect Dylan for his determination to follow the course.
Yeah,
There's
I mean, he was not going to be, manufactured, by Columbia sort of, you know, musician or pop singer or whatever you want to call it. But man, to me, that whole period right there, especially like those period, like that, the UK shows that he did with the band up until he did the basement tapes with the band like a year later or two. To me, that's like some of the best music ever made by human beings. Like, no matter who it is, I still put that above so many other things as far as, popular music goes. So yeah, I'm a bit biased in that regard.
How do you feel about his self-portrait album?
With my hands. Um, that record got a 4-word review in Rolling Stone when it came out. What is this shit? And it was universally reviled, along with one that came out shortly after that. I love it. I love it from the opening instrumental, all the tired horses, to the very end, whose song I forget. But yeah, I think it's great.
Wow.
Granted, I think it's great. I'm not saying everybody should go out and love that record, because a lot of people still hate it. I mean, there's stuff on there that approaches like Andy Williams kind of territory, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
I love Andy Williams. Well, you're a true Bob Dylan fan. Then is
yeah.
all I can say.
well, I have to admit, guilty as charged, I guess. But yeah, that's I love that record. So what else? What else? What else? Let's check.
I think that's about it for this video. Is
That could be true.
Well, there's. Go ahead.
Never mind. I was going to say, is anybody have anything to add? But I
Yeah,
guess you did.
No, I do have something to add. I feel like, that even though this seems like a pretty thorough topic about discussion of the concert, There's still a lot we can talk about Dylan. We can talk about individual albums. We can talk about different periods. I mean, this is a so we're just kind of skimming the surface of a very, very large topic. So maybe this is
Yeah.
something we could revisit maybe in a more focused format at some point in the future, like zero.
Maybe Highway 61 revisited.
I would love to review that album. That's one of
Yeah, yeah.
that's an album that I know very well. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm. That would be a
I
real
can dig
treat.
it. Hmm.
Yeah. I'm in trouble with the Tombstone Blues. That's a good one. And
It's a
there's
good
many
one.
others on there that are quite good. Anyway, great. Thanks for sharing your experiences about your concert, Mike.
I'm here to share.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
guys. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Later.